continue our book reading, Advanced Selling Strategy by Brian Tracy. We are still in chapter 4, The Heart of Sales, and we're still reading on the importance of long-term relationship. So the only way we can be successful in sales or capable of making the kind of sales we want more easily and more often to our prospects and our customers that we talk to is by having these prospects open their doors through testimonials and referrals. And for them to do that, we have to maintain and sustain the kind of relationship we have with them. That is sustain a very reliable long-term relationship. They must have been able to build a stronger bond with our customers. Okay, we'll continue from there on page 140, still under the importance of long-term relationship. Where we stopped yesterday was telling us that we need to be careful or know who or what kind of business partners we need to sustain a long-term relationship with, how we should be careful and extremely sensitive to how well we are doing in a relationship with our business and partners, most especially in the critical area of our life. So it's not just applying to business, it's also applying to our personal life and all round. So today we'll continue from there. It says the key emotional element of a long-term relationship is dependency. The key emotional element of long-term relationship is dependency. Before the customer buys from you, he or she is independent of you. The customer may like you or dislike you, but he or she can take you or leave you. However, when the customer makes a buying decision and gives you money for your product or service, the customer is stuck. The customer is now completely dependent upon you to fulfill the promises you made in your presentation. The customer is now dependent upon you for prompt delivery of the product or services. He or she is dependent upon you for installation and maintenance and for the warranties you have made. Once he or she has made the buying decision and given you the money, the customer's hands are tied. People do not like to be dependent on others. Customers are hesitant about getting into long-term relationship with a vendor of any kind. Every customer you deal with has purchased a product or service in the past that turned out to be disappointment. Customers are nervous about getting into the same situation again. This is why trust is so important. Trust is an extremely rare commodity built up slowly and painstakingly. It is fragile, it is capable of being shaken or even destroyed by a single mistake. Building and maintaining trust is the essential precondition for continuing or building a relationship of any kind. Products and services today are increasingly complex and are changing very fast. There is no way that your customer can accurately assess the quality and dependability of the products or services you're selling. There's no way your prospects can assess all the components of your product or services offering, much less the management, administration, production, quality, services, integrity, distribution, delivery, billing, accuracy, and follow-up support of your company. In addition, 95% of all contacts that your customer has with your company will be represented by yourself. The customer, in the final analysis, is buying you, and when he or she makes a buying decision, he or she is trusting and believing in you to fulfill the commitments that you have made with regards to what you sell. This commitment to a long-term relationship with all that entails is often an enormous choice on the part of the customer. A mistake in placing his bets on the wrong person and the wrong company can lead to financial loss. Criticism from superiors, delays and additional costs in satisfying his own customers, embarrassment, frustration and aggravation of all kinds. The risk involved in a large buying decision can be huge. Your failure to ally this risk can be the primary reason why qualified prospects do not buy from you. Because there are so many unknown factors involved in the purchasing of any product or service, the relationship is often more important to the customer than the product or services itself. The prospect may not be able to assess the inner workings of your company or what you're selling, but he or she can make a decision about you. Your job at this stage is to ensure the customer that it is safe to do business with you and your company. The establishment of this sales relationship upon a foundation of trust is the starting point of alleviating anxiety and lowering the perception of risks that is the major obstacles to sales success. Relationship building in sale is subjected to the law of indirect effort. This law states that you acquire things through people more often indirectly than directly. For example, you get people interested in you by being interested in them, the indirect way. You impress people by being impressed by them. You get people to like you by first liking them. The best way to have a friend is to be a friend, and so on. The law of indirect effort in selling says that the more you concentrate your attention on the relationship, the more likely it is that the sale will take care of itself indirectly. But if you focus your attentions on the sales and ignore the relationship, you will almost invariably fail to make the sales. Like the hedgehog, you must know one big thing. You must know that the relationship is everything, and without it, there will be nothing. A long-term selling relationship is seldom established in a single meeting. Many factors are involved. The bigger the product or service offering, the newer your company. The higher the level of satisfaction that your prospect has with his existing supplies, or the amount of competition there is for the same sales dollar, the greater will be the amount of times that it takes to build the trust in the relationship, to the point that the prospect will seriously consider doing business with you. Okay, so this is where we'll stop for our reading this morning. Still talking of the importance of building a long-term relationship. So the key element of a long-term relationship is dependency. So before a customer will buy from you, he or she is already independent, or already dependent on you. So if it turns out that the customer likes you, fine. If it turns out that the customer dislikes you, fine. So he will either take what you are offering, or he will either leave what you are offering. So when a customer is giving you money for buying your product, when he's trying to make a buying decision, it's as if the customer is entrusting, he's giving you his trust and saying, okay, I completely trust you, I am now dependent on you. Anything that happens when I'm in the process of using this product, or in the process of using these services, I am going to hold you responsible and accountable to you. So it is important to build trust with with your prospects, or with your customers, first of all, before you go ahead to provide products and services that will help solve their problem. Just like what it taught us in the new market model, where the first 40% in the new market triangle, the number one thing there is to build trust with your customers, which is actually repeating for us here. You have to build trust with your customers. Then secondly, we should also note that the customer is not actually buying because you're selling your product and service. The customer is actually buying because he knows you, because he has trusted you. He's buying the experience, he's buying it because he likes you, he's buying it because he can depend on you and trust the product and services that you are offering. So that's why we talk so much about creating a great and a wonderful experience with every customer you meet, whether they buy or they don't buy. Don't, but just make sure that at that first encounter that they have a good experience with you, even with the conversation that you are having with them. So you make them feel safe, you make them, know that you care about them. That's why most times Mr. Collins is like, it doesn't matter, it doesn't just means the whole sales thing is not just selling to the customer and then leaving them. Try to call them, ask how the product is doing, what are their challenges, what problem are they having. This helps to build long-term relationship with your customer. It helps to sustain that long-term relationship with your customer because it shows them that you care, that you're not just all about the money and pushing for them to push out your products there, but you also care of how their business is doing and how you can help them solve their problems, whatever challenges they're having with your product and services that you have offered with them. So that is it for our reading today. Thank you.
Thank you.